it is a glorious day here in E10 at the Brer Group Stadium for Leyton Orient versus Rochdale. Welcome to Orient Live. I'm Andrew Butler. I'm joined by Glenn Wilkie and Brendan Pitcher. A couple of changes in our lineup this afternoon and a couple of changes in the Orient lineup as well. Let's go straight to the team news for the O's this afternoon. So, starting in goal is number 22, Lawrence Vigouroux. Number 3, Connor Wood. Number 6, Adam Thompson. Number 7, Paul Smith coming back into the team. Another one coming back into the team. Number 11, Theo Archibald. 16, Aaron Drinan. 19, Omar Beckles. 20, Ruel Satiri. 25, Shadrach Oji coming in for George Ray. 26, Hector Kiprianu. And number 34, Ethan Coleman on the bench for the O's. Sam Sargent, Harry Smith, Frank Nuble, Otis Khan, Darren Pratley, Matt Young and Jordan Brown. And like I said, it is a glorious day here in E10. Paul Smith was just behind us about 2 minutes ago saying it's a beautiful day to play football, and I like the encouragement that he's given myself and he's given probably a lot of fans watching as well, knowing that he's up for it. And Glenn, are you up for it as well?
I'm very, very up for it. The sun is shining, grass has been cut nice and fresh, the lines are painted. It's a great day for football, and I think it's going to be a very good day for the O's family watching this team today following the last two sort of performances.
Brendan, your thoughts on the team?
Yeah, it's an exciting one. That front four is mouth-watering, isn't it? I don't think, have we had those four playing all together at the same time? I doubt it this season. If we have, it hasn't been for long. So those four of Theo on the right, Ruel Satiri in the 10, Paul Smith on the left, and then Aaron Drinan up front. There's so much pace in that team. There's so much technical quality. There's so much skill. I think that's a really exciting prospect. And if they all click and gel well together, it could mean a lot of goals for Leyton Orient today.
I hope so too. Glenn, let's talk through one by one those changes from Tuesday night against Forest Green. That really decent 1-1 draw against the league leaders. So Paul Smith coming in and Theo Archibald. How big is that for you?
I think it's great. Like Brendan said just there, the front four, so to speak, look very, very good. There's pace there. There's skill there. There's goals there. You know, you look at the guys who have been in scoring goals at the beginning of the season, Drinan, Theo chipping in. Okay, Ruel wasn't getting his chance at the beginning of the year, but he's come in and he's scored. Of late, Smith is back, he's fit. He, like you say, he looks lively, he looks confident, he looks happy, which is a good sign. I think it's a really good attacking front four. Looking at the changes after Tuesday night, the confidence is growing as well, and I think it's a real positive one, especially against the team who are they've not won in a few. They've had the last two games have been a similar results, a 1-1 draw and a 0-0. So their confidence won't be sky high. But I just think we've got goals. I think the key today is getting an early goal. If we can get an early goal in the first 10 minutes, I can see us going to score in.
Here we go.
3 or 4, right? However, it's really key that we get an early goal. I think the defence looks strong. I think they'll be strong. I'm not too worried about them. It's just the concentration levels. We spoke about it last Saturday, and then Tuesday night, lack of concentration. Forest Green score a goal. If we can concentrate a bit better, clear our lines early, and nothing too fancy at the back, I think we've got enough with that front four to go and score 3 or 4 goals.
Yeah, and the other change, Brendan, is Shadrach Oji coming in for the injured George Ray. Obviously, it's a change that needed to be made. I thought, for my money, I thought Shad was performed very, very well on Tuesday evening when Ray unfortunately had to come off injured.
Yeah, it's not a role we've seen him a lot in this season. As a centre back in a back four, has he played the left side of a back three or as a left back in a back four? But like you said, I thought he played really well on Tuesday when he came on. Showed composure in there. Has probably quite a lot of qualities of Richie Wellens are wanting a centre back in terms of wanting to play out from the back, being adventurous, being brave with the ball, and then his defending on Tuesday was excellent. The only worry with Shadrach Oji comes when he can kind of lose kind of concentration a little bit, and the mistakes, he does have a mistake in him. But if Richie Wellens can coach that out of him, then I think Shadrach can be a top player.
Do you know what I like about him being there is when he has played early on in the season, when we played 3 at the back and he was always on the left side, he got caught in possession a lot. He was the most tackled Orient player, wasn't he, up until a few weeks ago. Playing in a 4, I think that may sort of calm him down a bit because he's got players either side. He's not going to be on the ball that much, sort of longer than normal. He'll probably be 2-3 touch, get it down, pass it to his fullback, pass it inside or pass it to the midfielder. He's not going to have that time and space where as a left-sided in a front three, in a back three, he's got all that space and he's taking his time and getting caught out. So I think playing in a back four could suit him today.
And do you think kind of playing alongside someone like Omar Beckles with his experience as well will help him? You know, I'm personally a huge fan of Shad's, but he's still a young player learning his trade. Do you think he needs to kind of be coached throughout games, and having Omar next to him will probably give him a world of confidence?
100%, you would hope so, wouldn't you? You'd hope Omar would be talking to him. Like he's probably done all through the season in training and stuff like that. The thing is, how many times you keep telling somebody, but you want it to stick. Have they been telling him and it's not been happening? Is it going through one ear and out the other? Or have they not been telling him? I can't see that. I think he's been told, but like I say, I think playing in a back four today will just help him to concentrate, and having a player either side, he feels a bit more enclosed rather than being on the outside thinking I've got all this space. There's no one talking to him from that side, only from there. So at least he'll have two voices coming either side, I would have thought, with Wood talking to him throughout the game.
Yeah, and Brendan, it's Richie Wellens' first home game in charge. I mean, I think if you're a manager, you couldn't really ask for anything more than this. A glorious day in your home stadium, coming off the back of two reasonable results in your first couple of games. How have you assessed his time in charge so far?
Yeah, absolutely. I think those two away games he had were pretty difficult. Hartlepool were on a very good run. They beat Newport last night away from home. That shows what a good side they are, and it's a long away trip. And you've got another long away trip on a Tuesday night against the league leaders. And to remain unbeaten from those two is pretty impressive. And now he'll be looking ahead to this one and perhaps even the 3 or 4 fixtures after these to also look slightly more favourable and seeing, can we put a run together? Can we kind of get out of this relegation dogfight we're still in at the minute? And then you can start to look ahead and start to build for next season. But obviously focusing on today, you're building, you're looking to implement some of the new things he's been trying on the training ground. I'm sure he hasn't had that much time on the training ground to try new things, but what we've seen so far is obviously a distinct difference, I think, from the previous regime.
Yeah, it's going to be so interesting, Glenn, I think, because you can go to a couple of away games, you can try essentially try your best, which I think he has been, but the Bray Group Stadium in the last few months hasn't been a great place for us to be playing. What do you think he'll be able to have done in the last couple of weeks since he's come in to really make his mark? And do you think it'll be kind of any different from what he'll be doing in his first home game in charge?
Well, it's interesting. He spoke last week when he first came in, talking about the players playing with a bit more freedom. He means his attacking midfielders and his forwards. I don't think he wants his defenders playing with more freedom, but it's interesting, with that front four today, he spoke about players making angled runs, just mixing it up, and we spoke about this the other night. Players running at angles, don't be too easy to mark and stand in straight lines and being picked up and we can't get the ball forward. I think he would have done a lot of work with those forward players and those attacking midfielders when we are in possession, the runs they should be making, just pulling Rochdale's defenders out of pockets, out of holes, and vacating space for other players to run into. It showed on Tuesday night with a goal against Forest Green. There was sort of a bit of an interchange of movement which we got the goal from. So it seems to be having an impact straight away. And I just think the extra couple of days on the training pitch, like you say, beautiful day at home, first home game. Hopefully we'll get a big crowd here today to welcome the new manager. I really think that there's goals in it, and I think he's had a big impact, or he would have had a big impact on that front four.
Yeah, and he has made a huge impact already so far since he's joined the club. Richie Wellens joined us pre-match, and here's his thoughts.
Well, Gaffer, it's been an unbeaten away start for yourself and a great platform going into this weekend, really.
Yeah, definitely. When I looked at it before I came in, it was 2 difficult away games. We kind of got Hartlepool at a tough stage because they're full of confidence. He was playing Rotherham in the Papa John's semi-final, and Graham Lee was up for manager of the month, so it was a good point away there in a difficult pitch. And then different circumstances at Forest Green. Obviously, a really, really good team on a good pitch. And I thought we've shown 2 sides of it. Really battling performance against Hartlepool. I think at times we've shown real quality against Forest Green.
It's been a real quick transition, I think, in terms of the style of play. Are you pleased with how quickly that seems to have come about?
I'm really pleased. I have to say it's been pretty quick. There is still, for example, we only had 1 shot on target at Forest Green, but it didn't feel like that. There was so many opportunities where if we get the last little bit of detail right, then we can create more chances and score more goals. So we're nowhere near the finished article yet, we know that. But I have to say, we've had 2 training sessions here at the training ground, 1 up in Hartlepool. So the feedback from the players and the attitude has been fantastic.
In terms of Ruel Satiri, that's another goal. I think that's 3 and 4 for him now. What's the key to keeping him scoring?
Well, his confidence should be sky high. That's really good for him. But again, he's just coaching him when to come in, when to stay out wide, getting his body shape when he does come in. But I have to say, he's a really likeable boy, first and foremost. Very strong. You know, he likes physical contact. He's not one of them young kids that feels a contact and goes over. He can actually bounce off that contact. So we think we've got a real asset at the club with him, and long may his scoring runs continue.
Rochdale on Saturday, there's quite a few similarities with the teams. I think both on 16 draws, which is high in the league, and they've just had the one win in 2022. So what can we expect from this game?
No, well, I've actually watched Rochdale a couple of times. They're a really good footballing team, so I'm expecting a good football game. Robbie Stockdale's come from the academy background, so you expect people like that to promote the way that they play in a good way. But we're at home. It's my first home game. I want a good atmosphere at the ground. I want the supporters to buy in. I think we've got a really good group of lads, and I think once we get the supporters relating to the players, I think that can be powerful, and hopefully it'll stem for a good performance and a good result.
You were touching on it there about being your first home game. Just how much are you looking forward to it?
Yeah, I can't wait. I mean, I've missed it. I had 3 months out, and even before that, probably not had a proper home game since Swindon, because when I went to Salford, there was obviously no supporters. So your home record is your foundations. That's what you build your majority of your points on. So I'm looking forward to hopefully we can get a good atmosphere, good feeling around the ground, and a good performance.
Lovely stuff there from the gaffer Richie Wellens and his pre-match thoughts ahead of Orient versus Rochdale here in the glorious E10 sunshine. Glenn, let's go and move on to someone who a load of Orient fans will have been talking about in recent weeks. There's only one man in the mouths of everyone, which is Ruel Satiri, and his form has been sensational of late. We've been saying I think now for the last couple of years, he needs a bit of a run in the team, he needs to score a couple more goals, and now he's getting to that stage where he is scoring goals and he is getting the run in the team. How have you assessed his performance?
I like most supporters, really like him as a player. When he burst on the scene, I was at the Stevenage game about 2-3 years ago when he scored a couple of goals, and he's lively, he's aggressive. He's unpredictable, which I love about him, and especially as a defender, you want to know where forwards are going to run, so you can sort of half guess where they're going to go before the ball's been played. But he's unpredictable, and as a defender, I'd hate to play against him. Not only, like I say, he's aggressive and he's tenacious, and he's always sort of nipping at your heels as a defender. But what I love about him the most is his finishing. He knows where the goal is, and I think the big thing for Ruel is, he needs to be loved. He needs to be loved. He needs a manager to tell him he's the greatest player. He knows if he's having a good game or a bad game. You'll see his goals on it. You can see how well he can finish. But I think the big thing is his confidence for him. And we saw it a couple of years ago under Ross, when Ross Hamilton was a manager. He was in the team. He was playing very well. Since then, he's been in and out. He's had injuries. He's not really played as much as he probably wanted. I think Richie Wellens has come in. He's a man in form. He's seen him in training. He said he's a great finisher. I think he's given him the confidence. He's probably put his arm around him and told him, he's like, you're our number one at the moment. You're our number 9. And giving him that confidence. And I think with that, it's such a great thing for the club and especially for him.
Yeah, Brendan, there's something that I find particularly pleasing about watching Ruel and watching his form of late is the type of goals that he's scoring. So he's got that absolute stunner against Colchester, the volley here against Stevenage where it drops onto his left, and then his goal against Forest Green, which was a different type of goal entirely.
Yeah, I think I've said it multiple times now. I think he's the best natural finisher at this football club when he's confident and when he's on form. And what's pleasing now is that I think this start today breaks the record for the amount of consecutive starts he's had as an Orient player. So that he's getting a good run of games now under both Matty Harrold and Richie Wellens. Like Glenn says, he's getting belief shown in him, and that will give him confidence. And he's a player who, like we've said so many times, he's got so much ability. He just needs to do it over a prolonged period of time, and that's only going to happen with someone putting their arm around him and saying, you're going to be my man, you're going to play every game. And that seems like what's happening now, and it bodes well for the future. Yeah, and Glenn, it's interesting because, for Harry Smith and Aaron Drinan to have started the season in such fashion as they did, their goals kind of completely dried up. So to have Ruel
then knocking on the manager's door saying, look, this is what I can do, can only be good for the squad to kind of create that competition. And we've seen that because Harry Smith's had to drop to the bench this afternoon.
Yeah, no, definitely. And the thing is, it's all well and good knocking on the manager's door and saying I should be given a chance. But you've got to prove it. You can be given a chance. You've got to come on and play well, score goals as a forward. You get judged on scoring goals. And he's done that. He's come into the side. He's scored how many goals now? Is it three? Three in the last four? 3 or 4? And like you say, it's different types of goals as well. So he's come in, he's been given his chance, he's taken his chance. He finds himself again for a record number of appearances in a straight line or in a row. I don't know what I'm saying. In a row, and he's kept it. And I'm really, really pleased for him because he's a danger man. He's a danger man. The only negative I would say is his temperament sometimes. When the game's not going his way and he feels that the referee's not giving him the right decision, he needs to calm down a little bit because sometimes he's a bit of a ticking time bomb with yellow cards and potential reds.
Yeah. Okay, well, we'll hear from Ruel Satiri, who spoke to us pre-match, so let's hear from the Orient striker now.
So Ruel, a good result last night versus the league leaders. How was it feeling in camp after that one?
Yeah, I feel we did play well, especially when they scored. There was good reaction. I felt like we could have won the game, maybe created a bit more chances, but we'll take the point at the league leaders.
Absolutely, and the fans travelled in numbers again last night. The support from them has been great recently.
Yeah, I feel like there's a better buzz around the place with obviously new manager coming in, and then before when Matty took over, and I think it's just everyone's buying into the new regime, and yeah, fair play to the fans for coming out in their numbers again. And
that's 3 goals in 4 games to you now. You seem to be really enjoying your football again.
Yeah, literally, I just wanted the run of games. Now I'm getting it. I can show what I can really do. So, yeah, hopefully it continues.
Yeah, and like you said, you're enjoying your football again. You've waited a while for a run back in the team. How are you feeling being back in that starting 11?
Yeah, I feel good. Feel way fitter. Feel stronger. Yeah, and just playing games is the best. So
absolutely. And the new gaffer's come in and done well the first 2 games. How have you found the transition under him and Paul Terry?
Yeah, it's been a big transition in terms of the way we're playing. I feel like with the players we've got, especially in the forward positions, we can really get on the ball and create more chances by passing, moving, and not really doing long balls. So, yeah.
And now there's a big chance to get back to winning ways this Saturday at the Brave Group Stadium against Rochdale after 2 away draws. What's your thoughts on the game on Saturday?
Yeah, so it's a massive game. We need to be picking up 3 points at home. We're not oblivious to it, so hopefully we can pick up 3 points and get a win, a long-awaited win.
Yeah, and as we mentioned earlier, there's a lot. We've got to play a lot of teams around us in the coming weeks. We've got some big games coming up, and ones would be vital to get 3 points with.
Yeah, I think we've got a few games against people below us or in and around us, so it's crucial that we're picking up points.
Excellent stuff there from Ruel Satiri. Right, okay, there is another team playing in this game, as all football matches have. So we'll stop talking about Orient for a moment and talk about our opposition this afternoon, Rochdale. And the Rochdale team for today is as follows. Jay Lynch in goal, Corey O'Keefe in the back line, Jim McNulty, Owen O'Connell, James Dooley, Jimmy Ball, Gerald Dorset, Jimmy Keown, George Broadbent, Liam Kelly, Max Clark and Tavon Campbell. You might have seen them come up in a slightly different order. Rochdale providing some very, very fancy graphics for us this afternoon. But that's how Rochdale line up for the visitors this afternoon. And Brendan, let's talk about Rochdale for a moment. They're 3 points above us in the table. Have had, again, also in slightly patchy form of late. They got a couple of wins, last month, which really kind of helped them elevate them a little bit further towards the mid-table. But what do you think of Rochdale as a whole?
Yeah, we talk about us not winning the game in 2022. They've only won 2 games this calendar year, so both teams not in great form, and they're a decent footballing side. side. They get the ball down, they play it. They've got used their wing backs quite well. I think Corey O'Keefe is a player that I really like, and they did well to sign him on a permanent deal in January. And I think they're going to be stiff opposition, but I think it's a type of opposition this Richie Wellens side will want to face, because they're not going to be direct in your face. They're going to try football, try and play football like Richie Wellens' side will want to do, and it could be quite a good, hopefully a good technical possession-based game. I say in hope.
I hope so too. I mean, obviously, I hope we win. Glenn, it's getting to that kind of interesting point in the season where Rochdale now have got 40 points on the board. Obviously, they won't be wanting to rest on their laurels quite yet, but that you'd probably think, if you're a Rochdale fan, that you're pretty much safe for another season in League Two. How should Orient approach a game, against a team who has only got 2 wins in 2022, are in patchy form themselves, and from an Orient point of view, hopefully haven't got too much to play for?
Yeah, I didn't hear everything you said because the tannoy is above me, but I think you said how are we going to approach the game. Listen, we're still in a sort of within distance of the drop. We need points, and the quicker we get those points and get away from the sort of bottom 2, the better, because then the manager can start implementing a bit more of his sort of style of play. Yes, he would have been doing that, but like he said last week when he came into the job, the first thing is get points on the board. Let's get away from that relegation zone and get safe. That we may need to play slightly differently to what his beliefs and his philosophy are. If we get them points on the board as quickly as possible in the next couple of games and get away from that zone, he can then start. We might see a different style of play from Richie Wellens, but I think he'll want a quick start. It's his first home game today, Richie Wellens. He'll want us to start fast, get these supporters on side early, get them out of their seat, play some nice attacking football, get lots of shots on target, because once a crowd get on their foot and start supporting the team, it's a really, really good place to play football, because you'll get that extra buzz. It gives you that extra lift. You might be able to run that little bit quicker. Sounds silly, but believe me, when you're on that pitch and the support is behind you and you hear that noise, it does give you a lift. So if we can do that and get the supporters up, it'll be a really, really good thing. And like I say before the game, we could go on to score 3 or 4 goals.
Yeah, well, I hope so. Brendan, you've picked out one player in particular that we should be looking out for this afternoon in this Rochdale team. Tavon Campbell, tell me a bit about him.
Yeah, Tavon Campbell is a player who played in League Two a few times now for a few different clubs and not really pulled up any trees. He had to move down to the National League and kind of lit the National League up a little bit during his first 6 months of the season at Woking, where I believe he scored around 13 goals in 25 games. So he earned himself a move back to League Two this season with Rochdale in January after they lost their leading marksman Jake Beasley, and he's done all right so far. He's got 2 goals in about 9 or 10 games. He's not pulled up any trees, but he is a player that on his day can be very, very dangerous and can harm Orient. You're seeing from the clips here, he's a natural finisher. He's quite quick, he's quite comfortable with the ball. He can get a shot off from anywhere, and that's going to be a danger for Orient today in this kind of system where Rochdale will look to get the wing backs forward and provide crosses into him into the box.
Yeah, okay. Thank you so much for that. We'll go back to Orient. Glenn, I wanted to pick up on what you were saying about Richie Wellens. What I've been so impressed with, having been up at Hartlepool and at Forest Green Rovers. At Forest Green Rovers, I was kind of lucky enough to be only sat about 5 metres away from him. He's incredibly animated on the sidelines. I know it sounds like a bit of a cliche, but he does kick and head every ball. He kicked a couple of bottles on Tuesday night. One of the bottles, funnily enough, was the one that the linesman then slipped up on and twisted his knee on. So that was quite something to experience. But you can kind of tell his passion is there for it. Of course, with some managers, that kind of it comes across as a bit of bluster. But for Richie Wellens, for me at least, it's encouraging that he is that enjoyment, that excitement, that passion is coming across already.
Yeah, no, definitely. And like you say, managers are different, totally different. Some managers, I'll go back to a phrase I used earlier in the season, a well-known American sports phrase, is the hay is in the barn, meaning you've done all the work during the week, it's locked away, you don't need to tell the players anything on a match day because you've done all the work in the week. Other managers, like you say, very animated on the sidelines, they kick every ball, they head every ball, they're shouting instructions, they're barking orders because they want to win. Now, is that the right way to do it? Is that the wrong way to do it? doesn't matter as long as you get results. And I think him coming into this side, especially when you're in the position we are in the table, he is vocal. He was that kind of player as well. You know, he was very aggressive. He got around the pitch, let out the opposition know he was there. You know, so that's his character, and I think that's possibly why the board have got him in. As well as his previous managerial record, but that's the type of person he is, because there's no point bringing in a manager who's similar to the last manager, because we saw the last manager towards, well, the last sort of 6 games, standing on the touchline, possibly with his arms crossed, not doing it, not shouting orders out. So did we want to get somebody in to replicate what he was doing? No, because the results wasn't in the right way. So we've got to change it up. We've got a manager in who plays a different style of football, who's got a different philosophy, but he's different on the sideline. And I love to see that. I think most supporters will, because you see supporters tweeting and whatever on social media after the game when things were going bad. Well, the manager just stood there with his arms crossed.
Yeah.
They see it. It's like a lack of enthusiasm.
Yeah, Brendan, one thing that has really stuck out for me in the last few weeks of this little run of draws and stemming the flow of losses that we've had is that we are coming from behind to draw these games as well, which suggests to me there is enough fight in this team to really make it count. And like what we need to do really is just push on and start on the front foot and get these first goals rather than having to rely on us to have to fight for those points.
Yeah, absolutely. I think we've seen through some of the interviews, even during that losing run we were having, there were some really positive characters that were coming across in their media work, and it's clear that these players obviously have big personalities and they obviously do care. That's the bare minimum, but that's showing on the pitch at the minute. Even when we weren't playing well under Matty Harold, like you say, we got a couple of late equalisers, and it shows the character in the squad. I think now you move on for those 2 draws against decent sides. You've got the new manager in. You can try and implement new things, even though you haven't had much time on the training ground. But you're looking to turn those draws into wins and to show character the right way. Hopefully, we won't need any last-minute goals. Hopefully, it'll be sorted a little bit earlier today. Hopefully
so. Glenn, where do you think this game's going to be won and lost? And I mean, won for Orient and lost for Rochdale.
Listening to what Brendan said with his great analysis of the other team, if they're playing 3 at the back, I think with our sort of front 4, there's going to be space down the sides of their 3 centre halves. So I think we'll look to sort of get down the ball down the sides, and then interchanging with the other players, making movements, crossover runs, stuff like that. I think if we get caught at the back and they play a high press and they put pressure on us in our defensive third, if we can't pass the ball into midfield and pass it out, there's an ideal opportunity to pass the ball. If we can't get into feet, to go into those gaps down the side, get up the pitch, win the ball, and then cause a bit of havoc up there. So from an attacking point of view, that's where I see it going. We are strong defensively. Goal difference is in our favour in the plus column at the moment still. Cut out the silly mistakes at the back where it was cost us goals. The worst you come off with is a 0-0, but I think we've got far too much in the offensive line to not score a goal today.
Yeah, you hit on a good point there. I believe we're the only team in the bottom half of the table to still have a positive goal difference, which I think, Brendan, there is a decent barometer of actually showing, no, we're not a bad team, we just can't win games at the moment. Yeah, I think I'm right in saying we haven't won a game by a single goal yet this season. It has been kind of boom or bust a little bit, hasn't it? And today, I'd take a 1-0 scrappy win as long as we get that first win, and it'll mean so much to start, like we say, a new era under Richie Wellens in front of a good crowd, and the sun is shining. Hopefully it's a case that we get this first win and that monkey off our back today. Fantastic. Well, I believe we are just about to get over to our commentary team of Matt Hiscock and Dave Victor. The players have come out onto the pitch. I said earlier that Paul Smith was just behind us before we came on air and said it's a beautiful day to be playing football here in E10, and I hope so is for you wherever you're watching in the world. So thank you so much for tuning in. We'll be back here at half time and we'll cross over to our commentary team shortly with Dave Victor and Matt Hiscock.
Blue skies and sunshine for Richie Wellens' first game in charge at Brisbane Road. So far, so good. He's a positive man. It's been a positive start with a clean sheet and a point at Hartlepool last weekend, followed with a really impressive performance, particularly in the second half against the leaders, Forest Green Rovers. And this afternoon, the opportunity to move above Rochdale in the table. Robbie Stockdale's side come here having picked up just 2 points from their last 4 matches, and both sides, Matt Hiscock, make 2 changes.
Yeah, they do. Well, 3 changes for the O's, Dave. As you look at the lineup, of course, no